Welcome back to Pharmacy Central. My name is Tarun. Today I want to do something a little bit different. I know I generally do medication counseling videos, but I want to talk about depression and mental health today and kind of do a deeper dive. And I am a pharmacist, so I'm going to throw in the pharmacy sense into it, but not really talk about medications. Because I genuinely believe that most people that take antidepressants don't need to be on them. Depression is definitely overdiagnosed, overprescribed. Patients are over-medicated for the depression disease state, and you have to understand why. And I know there's a big push in the media now about mental health and kind of maintaining your mental health, and then also sort of the stigma and sort of the mystery around depression. So let's kind of just break this all open. So depression is kind of split up into different categories. Now, if you've gone off to war and you have sort of like post-traumatic stress, that can lead to depression. That makes sense for you to be on medication long term. That's a big traumatic event in your life. If you were abused or you had a really rough childhood, it makes sense why you would be on antidepressants long term. Let's see here. If you had a death in the family, that's not grounds for being on antidepressants for too long. Generally, what we see with that is a loss in the family. If you're unhappy with your life, and let me kind of narrow that down. Let's say you're in a marriage that like a loveless marriage or a bad relationship or an abusive relationship. Let's see what else kind of counts. You're miserable at your job. If you're generally kind of miserable with your life, but it's circumstances that you could technically change, antidepressants really aren't necessary. And if you use them and you have to use them, you're only supposed to use it in the short term. Use it like a crutch. That's the best way to use antidepressants. I have so many patients that over the years, they've been on antidepressants and they're just on them. They just take them every day, kind of like a multivitamin, and just think everything's going to be okay. And it kind of does elevate your mood a little bit, but if you're taking it in the long term, you're taking exogenous neurotransmitters, right? So it's kind of messing with your neurotransmitter balance in your brain. And so if you're technically normal, but you're going through a rough patch, if you're on antidepressants for years and years and years, your body gets used to that. So that when you get off, you have sort of like withdrawal symptoms, and you don't want that, right? That's kind of what we're trying to prevent. We're trying to get your brain to just come up to even keel on its own without needing medication. So my whole point is a lot of depression can be tackled through like therapy, through healthy habits, right? Healthy lifestyle habits, exercise, diet. Get yourself in a good, healthy routine that prevents you from kind of going down the wrong path or kind of taking on negative habits, or if you're kind of like a relapsed drug user due to circumstances in life. I mean, depression is just it's just so much to tackle that I can't even do it in a video like this. I'm doing my best, but really, you really need to get a couple of people to sit down in a circle, and then you kind of break down the kind of exact targeted depressions you're talking about. But kind of getting back to it, so if you have like things that make you unhappy in life, that's therapy related. Like I said, that's behavioral related. But medication is only really used for kind of short-term uses. Like a lot of moms will kind of have maternal depression and things like that, and that's a short-term use. Like you get on antidepressants, helps you for a bit. It's a crutch. It doesn't fix your problem. It helps you like a crutch while you heal, while you work on the issues at hand. And as you're working on those issues, the antidepressant is there to kind of give you a little boost. And then when you get to the root of those issues, you stop taking the antidepressant, right? That's the way that these things are supposed to work. And I think a lot of doctors don't tell you that. A lot of pharmacists, we get busy, and I'll admit, like, we were not the best about that, but that's the best way to do it. You don't just take these medications perpetually, which is what we see in practice now. And they told us this at pharmacy school. They said, this country is a give me a pill and fix it country. And they were like, your job when you go out there into the world is to prevent that. And the only way you can really prevent it is by educating people, right? And we all are also swamped at our pharmacies that sometimes we just don't stop to kind of talk to people and kind of inform them on this. So that's the reason for the YouTube page and then the videos and stuff like that, is I want to be able to educate people and be able to reach a lot more than just my patient base. So, yes, I know therapy is expensive. right? And I know it's much easier to take a cheap antidepressant that's kind of like a grandfather drug, right? Runs you about $9 a month to get these pills. I understand all the reasons why the antidepressants are so widely common and popular, but it's not the best fix for it, right? So therapy ideally is great. Healthy habits are great. So if you're someone who tends to relapse into bad habits, drugs, negative company, putting yourself on a really healthy routine is a great way to kind of avoid all those things, right? Surrounding yourself with obviously good people, that's kind of common sense. I don't want to get into the common sense stuff, but surrounding yourself by good soil is good. So good support system. And that really tends to lift your spirits too. If you're the type that kind of just sits at home on the weekends and that's like a negative feedback loop. So if you're already depressed and then you don't go out and you don't meet people, you don't just get your mind off of things, then you're just kind of stuck in this rut. And if you're taking an antidepressant, how does that technically help you get out your rut? It doesn't, right? You have to kind of, from within, work on that and go, you know what, I'm going to forcibly go out tonight. Well, whether it's going out to dinner with at least one friend or going out for drinks, dancing, movies, whatever, just getting out the house. Maybe change of scene is a big one. Maybe get out of the city, go do a weekend trip, right? Those kind of things are therapeutic. Or maybe, I hate to say it, I know we don't get a lot of vacation. You know, in America, not a lot of people get tons and tons of hours of PTO. Maybe just taking a week off. Or you know, maybe one Friday a month you just take off, just kind of as like a mental health day, right? And just have yourself a 3-day weekend where you just kind of catch up on errands, just kind of refill your soul a little bit, right? Read books, movies, whatever your hobbies are, like get into hobbies and stuff like that. Have a creative outlet, balance yourself, right? So those are kind of the big things to kind of do. And it's, you know, pharmacists and doctors can only do so much in this area of mental health and depression. A lot has to do on you, and it has to come from within. Like, I want to make these changes because I'm tired of feeling this way, right? That's what you have to say to yourself. So a lot of people that can afford the therapy and stuff like that, or if it's covered by insurance, do that. That's great. If you have friends that are a really, really good source and an influence, let them be your therapist. Sit down and take some time out and talk to them, and then they talk to you. And, you know, let that be your therapy session. Your therapy session doesn't have to always be with a therapist. That's also another big thing. I know nowadays they're all like, go to therapy, go to therapy. Therapists are all happy because they're making money. But if you have people in your life that are great influences, they can also double down as your therapist. Like, unless you have, you know, more serious, deep-rooted issues, then obviously, you know, you go the medical route and go like with a proper therapist. But parents, best friends, siblings, whatever it is, it's great. And there are a lot of resources out there. Sometimes you can just chat with someone online as a way of therapy. I know they have like online therapists and stuff like that, so you don't even have to take the hour out and go somewhere, right? You can do this sitting at home and just type or get on a phone call. I know that therapy is available through so many different ways, right? But I want people to really take away from this video is the medication is a crutch. It is not a fix, right? It doesn't, by taking the medication, you're not going to be cured of depression and then you just get off the medication. It doesn't work that way. You have to first identify what kind of depression you have, what is sort of the deep-rooted issue behind it, and how long, and you need to put yourself kind of on a timeline of, hey, okay, someone passed away in my family, you know, I'm going to give myself 6 months to really kind of grieve, get over this. I'm going to take antidepressants. And then after 6 months, I'm going to kind of go back to normal, wean off the medication, right? And so, you know, talk to your doctor about how to do this. Cause there's the longer you're on the antidepressant, the longer the titration period is to get off of it, right? To prevent withdrawal symptoms. The shorter you're on it, you can just get off of it kind of cold turkey as well. Generally not recommended, but if you haven't been on it for very long, it generally tends to work for a lot of people. But yeah, so again, it's really hard to kind of talk about this subject without more details to kind of talk about, but just kind of as an overview, I felt like I just kind of had to make this video to kind of discuss these things, because just because I'm a pharmacist doesn't mean I want pills out the door, right? The pills I've seen are just used and abused in this country. Kind of like weight loss pills. Everyone still eats McDonald's and then they keep taking weight loss pills and then they think they're going to lose weight, and that's not how it works. So, guys, if you have any questions, concerns, leave them down below. Let's really have ourselves a really great discussion on the matter, right? What have your experiences been with it? Have you been successful? A lot of people do read the comments, guys. So if you have had success stories by getting off of antidepressants, and it has helped you in a short term, great. If you have concerns about it because you've been on it a long time now and your doctor doesn't really say anything and just sends in the refills, maybe throw it down below and see what other people say and say, hey, maybe you don't need to be on this stuff anymore, right? Like, we want this page to be helpful to people. And if everyone kind of shares their stories, then it'll help other people. And that's really all what we're trying to do with this page. So guys, thank you for tuning in. I hope this helps, and we'll see you next time or somewhere on Pharmacy Central with a video.